My name is Homer, and I'm here to tell you a story of an important person greater than you and I. Someone who's battled mythical creatures and danced with gods. Someone with six in a chamber, no room for excuses. His name is Odis, and all he wants to do is go back home to his sweet Jessica. But as always, fate's an ass. As the sound of crackling wood could be heard for miles, a bright flame is needed to light up the shadow cast upon the great hero of Scorpion's Creek. This is the story of Odis the Undead, his long journey home. Odis is a cowboy, a man of bloodshed, but he's also a man of civility, intelligence, and a man to respect. Those who tread on him lightly to get up with a big iron on his hip and end up in the creek in a shallow grave. The only ones he respects is the lady, Jezebel, and the gods of the natives. His need to be known throughout the West puts him in deadly situations. But as his name implies, Odis doesn't die. It's as though the great Native American gods blessed the man with immortality, or maybe cursed him. As if the horrible underworld goddess Edna was overlooking Odis's long journey. It all started on a raid of her own village. He tells his men to grab the loot and hop back on the stallions before the men in the village had a chance to attack. He screams more, telling them that the men will be back and they have to leave, to no avail. As his men stayed behind to get drunk and enjoy the fruits of the natives, the roaring galloping was fast approaching the village, and the warriors of the tribe came in like a pack of hungry wolves. One by one, Odis's men fall. Odis grabs the rest of his loot and his men before any more loss can occur, but he already lost a quarter of his men after the battle. They started on a journey once again. After the battle with the Native Americans, they decided to stay in a little Quaker settlement whose residents sucked the sweet nectar out of the honeysuckle fruit, not knowing the fruit's addictive curse. Some of Odis's men tried it and forgotten all of their pain and suffering and responsibilities. Some decided to stay in the settlement, but not Odis. He wants to see his lady again and will escape the wrath of death once again to do it. After a long hike away from the devil's fruit, they headed far west and needed rest, so they did carelessly, and they slept without inspecting the area of the Wendigo tracks. Odis, after a long journey of the two tragedies, was worn out and slept, but awoke when he heard the sound of one of his men screaming. And when his eyes open, he sees one of his fellow men's carcass being torn, crunched, taken away by the nearby Wendigo. Odis, being the man that he is, runs away from no monster and decides to trap the Wendigo. Not even minutes later, a monster was caught. He decided to let the monster live, but not without branding it with a hot iron and cutting off his feet and hands. Not knowing that the monster's cries and pain were actually a curse upon him and his crew. Moments later, after the release of the Wendigo, they traverse down the mountain, where he meets an old wise leader of a local Indian tribe, and they give him shelter and food and water. When Odis and his men stayed long enough at the village, they decided to go on their way. But when a particularly bad storm had them going back to the village, the chief was convinced that they were cursed by gods. So he sent them away. when the horses followed a scent of hay all the way to the shaman's hut. The shaman, being no friend to cowboys, turned Odis's men into rats near a viper-infested forest. But as Odis's words pierced the old shaman's heart, she turned them back. Only the ones that were still near anyways. And then, after hearing the homesick Odis tell his story, she decided to help them with the ritual to see the underworld. Hey, and to take the fruit. And so he did. One big gulp later, and he was asleep. Will this be the end of Odis?